A Substance Abuse and Work Guide. Chapter 1. Substance Abuse at Work Guide. Substance abuse in the workplace. Substance abuse in the workplace includes alcohol, recreational drugs, prescription drugs, and over-the-counter medications. It's not just the sensational drugs like grass and cocaine that cause problems at work. Many legal drugs like tranquilizers, mental health drugs, even caffeine and nicotine cause significant disruptions and problems. Alcohol is the most abused intoxicant at work. It's not just being impaired that affects work but the overall state of the alcoholic, who is generally sickly and depressed. The current trend is that alcohol dependence is not the employer's business unless it's affecting work performance, absenteeism, moodiness, apathy, so as long as the employee does his job. If the individual goes to the boss and asks for help, you can help him seek treatment, but until then, keep your nose out of a worker's personal life. The AMA and the ADA define alcoholism as a disease and even a disability in some cases, which flies in the face of common sense, which says these are just a bunch of weak individuals who create their own misery. It ain't exactly like cancer, something beyond their control. If an employee is drinking and starting to act tipsy at work, recommend him to your employee assistance programs if you have one. If not, talk to him. Warn him that the quality of his work is suffering. Tell him you'll help him kick booze if he wants to. That's the best you can legally do short of firing him for incompete. The federal government agency, the National Institute of Drug Awareness (NIDA), is the governing authority battling drug abuse through treatment and education. Public policy relating to drugs is based on the Federal Drug-Free Workplace Act (DFWP) of 1968, which made any employer with a government contract over $25,000 responsible for substance abuse among his employees, which meant they had to inform them that drug abuse on the job was illegal, educate them, make treatment available for employees with addiction problems, and discipline them when necessary. It's not only a legal problem, it's a safety issue. Many accidents are caused by substance abuse, and many production hours lost or wasted away by intoxicated employees either doing sloppy work, negative work that has to be undone, or no work at all. Whereas once it was a hidden problem, the trend now in liberated companies is that employers are encouraging their employees to admit their problems openly without fear of discipline so they can get professional help whilst keeping their jobs. In some companies, there's a subculture of drug abuse. They either get high during the shift or have a few drinks at lunch, then drink on the job later and continue on after work. These things go on unchecked until there's some kind of serious accident or illness due to abuse. Often, the situation can go on for years as the old school continues about its old way of doing things, a couple of drinks to go along with the job. You can generally tell when someone has a substance abuse problem because they look unhealthy, may act tired or dazed, make excuses for tardiness and absence, may shake, have an unkempt appearance, sporadic withdrawals from people, moodiness, apathetic attitude, decrease in job production, general crankiness and impatience, and on the other side, when they catch a buzz, they all of a sudden get jovial and excessively happy for no apparent reason. I believe there's extremism on both sides. The federal government's National Council on Alcoholism and NIDA have a no-tolerance policy in the workplace when the facts are that at least half, if not more, of all workplace environments engage in some manner of drinking or smoking pot, etc. at some point in time, not to mention all the prescription drugs used which numb the mind, plus caffeine and nicotine, which could cause adverse reactions which affect work performance. Naturally, common sense must prevail. If you're driving a forklift or a train, you don't get high on the job. If you've been working on a computer for 10 hours straight and catch a quick buzz, what's the harm except maybe some lost work? But sometimes intoxicants enhance creativity and performance. Some people get high to relieve the boredom of repetitive, tedious jobs, to pass the time, to make them go better. Personally, I do a lot of my writing while high on something, either booze or drugs. I don't think I could handle 10-hour stints day after day unless I got high in the process. If there isn't a safety issue involved in a menial task like pounding nails to put in a floor, or in my case, pumping out information books, What's the big deal except for the litigation your company faces if you screw up while intoxicated? Substance abuse in the workplace will never go away. A couple of guys doing construction on a Saturday afternoon are inevitably gonna buy some beer and drink it. There are currently two extreme sides, no middle ground. It's not gonna stop. That's human nature. It's when people violate safety conditions or set out on a path of self-destruction that the company must be particularly vigilant about. Other than that, people will always catch a buzz on the job just to make all the mundane routine days go that much better and also to close business deals by wining and dining clients. Companies can deal with the problem by doing undercover investigations, sending in an undercover worker, putting hidden cameras in, offering stool pigeons rewards to report it, doing random searches, urine tests, or simply having an open door policy of inviting people with substance abuse problems to go to an employee assistance program and see an employee assistance counselor at no risk to their jobs. Educational material should be made openly available with short fact sheets posted on a bulletin board in the coffee room. Every 6 months or so, you could have some kind of seminar or class where your employees see a lecture, film, etc. on the dangers of substance abuse to life and to the workplace. The attitude of management will trickle down and determine whether employees will engage in substance abuse on the job or not. Drug testing is covered elsewhere. Suffice it to say that it's a controversial civil rights privacy issue, but if you sign a consent form in your employee contract, you have no choice but to submit to the company's system of drug testing, usually random whenever they please, which is a good thing with safety occupations like bus driving, commercial pilot, office building construction, etc. In some cases, they may even have rights to give you a lie detector about substance abuse. Is substance use on the job good or bad? It's a tough question. There have been some major disasters, many of which never became public, but one big one that did was the oil spill of the Exxon Valdez. Could it have been prevented if controls were in place to keep the substance abusing captain out of his high-profile position? On the other hand, for me, in what I do on the computer and when I do manual labor as I've done in the past, catching a buzz made the day pass better and probably made me more productive overall, because with a buzz I didn't mind doing the tedious, boring jobs. You can always fight the substance abuse tests on your constitutional rights, or you can fight test results based on their general unreliability. Then there's the argument of your personal life on your own time. If you use drugs while not at work, it'll show up on a test. Does an employer have a right to control your off hours? Apparently, if it's in your contract. Read your employment contract and/or the company rules, and if you don't like that clause, either fight it or don't take the job. The eternal proverbial question is whether there's a certain level of acceptable use or a zero-tolerance policy. In some work situations with a bunch of guys feverishly working on projects and deadlines, I think it's a good way to get through a workathon. The only relevant issue is safety. When you're responsible for people or large amounts of property, don't mess around, it's that simple. Use common sense and good judgment. The boss has to decide what his liability in those situations should something happen caused by somebody's intoxication. According to DFWP, a drug-free workplace has several factors. Notify every employee by giving them a fact sheet about the drug-free workplace policy, asking them to read it and sign it so they understand the situation. Have a program or seminar where you tell them the policy and outline treatment, counseling, discipline, etc. If you have a contract of over $25,000 with the federal government, you have to notify them within 10 days if one of your employees is convicted of a drug-related workplace offense. Offer your employees treatment and discipline in a non-threatening manner to try to help them overcome their substance abuse problems. Often, drug and alcohol abuse are blamed on the stress of work. In that case, find alternatives to help your employees relax and not take work so hard that they resort to substance abuse to deal with it. Offer them books, tapes, and courses on stress, meditation, relaxation, nutrition, healthy living, etc. Some of these types of books are at hashtag 155-158 and hashtag 611-613 at the library. You might offer a free membership to a gym to your employees or have a little workout area in your building where they can go to relax. Some companies have sleep rooms where employees can go to lay on a bed during lunch hour to take a nap. Some companies have a mandatory walk or exercise routine 3 times a week where they drive everyone to a park and they all have to walk for half an hour. Books about substance abuse at work are at hashtag 658.3822 and HF 5549.5 at the library. For more information, go to hashtag 362.2 and hashtag 616.86 at your local library. Some substance abuse journals are Addictions, Alcohol Health and Research World, American Journal of Public Health, American Psychologist, EAP Digest, Employee Assistance Quarterly, Hospital and Community Psychiatry, International Journal of Addictions, International Journal of Law and Psychiatry, Journal of Consulting and Clinical Psychology, Journal of Counseling Psychology, Journal of Drug Issues, Journal of Health and Social Behavior, Journal of Nervous and Mental Disease, Journal of Studies on Alcohol, Mental Health, Drug-Free Workplace Info. The federal government agency, the National Institute of Drug Awareness/NIDA, is the governing authority battling drug abuse through treatment and education. Public policy relating to drugs is based on the Federal Drug-Free Workplace Act/DFWP of 1968, which made any employer with a government contract over $25,000 responsible for substance abuse among his employees, which meant they had to inform them that drug abuse on the job was illegal, educate them, make treatment available for employees with addiction problems, and discipline them when necessary. It's not only a legal problem, it's a safety issue. Many accidents are caused by substance abuse and many production hours lost or wasted away by intoxicated employees either doing sloppy work, negative work that has to be undone, or no work at all. According to DFWP, a drug-free workplace has several factors. Notify every employee by giving them a fact sheet about the drug-free workplace policy, asking them to read it and sign it so they understand the situation. Have a program or seminar where you tell them the policy and outline treatment, counseling, discipline, etc. If you have a contract of over $25,000 with the federal government, you have to notify them within 10 days if one of your employees is convicted of a drug-related workplace offense. Offer your employees treatment and discipline in a non-threatening manner to try to help them overcome their substance abuse problems. Often, drug and alcohol abuse are blamed on the stress of work. In that case, find alternatives to help your employees relax and not take work so hard that they resort to substance abuse to deal with it. Offer them books, tapes, and courses on stress, meditation, relaxation, nutrition, healthy living, etc. Substance abuse at work resources. Go to the Human Resources section of any company or organization with a website to see their substance abuse at work policy. Books about substance abuse at work are at hashtag 658.3822 and HF 5549.5 at the library. For more information, go to hashtag 362.2 and hashtag 616.86 at your local library. Drug-Free Workplace Hotline. 800-843-4971. Drugfreeworkplace.org. dol.gov/working-partners, Drug-Free Workplace Small Business Workplace Kit. Workplace.samhsa.gov, the prevention and treatment of drug abuse in the workplace. dol.gov/dole/asp/public/program/drugs. dol.gov/dole/asp/public/program/drug/party/duidwi.htm, Summary of Drunk Driving Laws by State. Publications.usa.gov. Drugfreeidaho.org, Drug-Free Workplace Programs. Businesslink.gov.uk, a guide to dealing with drug abuse at work. dol.gov/workingpartners/welcome.html, working partners for an alcohol and drug-free workplace. drugtestingusa.com, drug testing and drug-free workplace. trinityworkcare.com/substanc.htm, Trinity Workcare Employee Assistance Programs. Drug Abuse Helpline. 800-662-HELP. National Clearinghouse for Drug and Alcohol Information. POB 2345. Rockville, Maryland 20847. 800-729-6686. 301-468-2600. 800-487-4889, TDD. Fax, 301-468-6433. Health.org. Clearinghouse for Occupational Safety and Health Information. 4676 Columbia Parkway, Cincinnati, Ohio 45226. 835 Niche. 513-533-8326. Fax, 513-533-8573. cdc.gov/niosh/homepage.html. Employee Assistance. Professionals Association. 4601 North Fairfax Drive, number 1001. Arlington, Virginia 22207. 703-522-6272. eapassociation.org. Employee Assistance Quarterly Magazine. Employee Assistance Society of North America. 708-383-6668. easna.org. Employee Assistance Program/EAP. Employee assistance programs are programs employers put into place to help workers and their immediate families in dealing with personal, emotional, mental health and substance abuse programs for three main reasons: to make themselves look like a benevolent company which cares about its workers, to save money by keeping workers who they have a vested interest in after having trained them plus all the experience these workers have, to protect themselves from possible negligence or unsafe workplace lawsuits. An Employee Assistance Program, EAP, also known as an Employee and Family Assistance Program, EFAP, is geared to help employees with personal problems that affect their work performance by providing a confidential counseling service both for employees who want to use it on their own and employers who order problem employees to use it. EAPs are simply part of the business model that strives to take care of workers with the presumption that healthy, well-adjusted workers are more productive and relaxed in the workplace. People can have problems both at work or in their personal lives. The cause is irrelevant. When it affects work, it's the company's business. EAPs were started to help with the resolution of problems that are affecting work, whatever their cause. Some EAPs go beyond the mental health counseling basics to encompass services to help employees in their lives such as retirement planning, career counseling for laid-off workers, healthy lifestyle education, nutrition education, financial planning, etc. The way EAPs work in general is that the telephone number is made available to all workers by either having it posted on the wall or included with the employee's paycheck or something like that. If a worker feels like he needs service, he calls the confidential number and is connected to a referral agent, generally a health professional, human resources employee or a counselor. This person defines the exact nature of the problem and decides how to proceed from there, where to refer the person. Big companies might have their own counselors on staff. Smaller companies contract with a mental health counseling company who do their EAP work for them. They say the record is confidential, meaning your boss or the personnel department of your company will not get it, but I tend to be suspicious of this claim since it's the company who's paying all the bills. Beyond the self-referral route, a supervisor can give an informal referral where he recommends the worker enroll in the EAP to try to shape up, or a formal referral where the employee is put on disciplinary action and participation in the EAP is part of the requirement. The EAP information may or may not appear in the individual's personnel file depending on the company and the situation. The main services offered by EAPs are as follows: personal problems, relationship issues, family issues, substance abuse, stress, balance in life, depression, anxiety, mental illness, anger/violence management, harassment, grief due to loss, financial problems, legal problems. What makes an EAP successful is the fact that it's there to help employees and not to spy on them or certify them as crazy and not suitable for work at the company. Everything is supposedly kept confidential. The quality of EAP providers varies immensely. As a company, do your homework before hiring an EAP provider. Find somebody with proven experience who handles virtually the entire spectrum of services generally defined by the concept of EAPs. What type of fee structure would you use? A monthly flat fee regardless of usage, a flat fee per session, or regular billing for every service rendered? The way it usually works is that the company publicizes their EAP so that all employees know it's there if they want to go on their own voluntarily without telling the boss about it, or the boss might talk to an employee, tell them they look down, not like their usual selves, and suggest, not order because that's illegal, that they might consider talking to a counselor at the EAP. Before you formally order someone to the EAP, their work and/or demeanor has to be slipping real bad, and you should talk to your lawyer before you do it, because by referring an employee, you are defining him as disabled, therefore protected by the ADA, and you are also potentially invading his privacy, so tread lightly. Offer a recommendation but don't order visits to the EAP. EAPs have the power to give employees leave of absences from work while being treated. EAP websites: ncadi.samhsa.gov/workplace/fedagency/employee_assistance_programs.aspx. eapweb.com, Employee Assistance Resources Center. SouthernEAP.com, Southern Employee Assistance Programs Incorporated. eap.partners.org. act-eap.com. publications.usa.gov. eap-association.com. eapconsultants.com. eap.fsu.edu/guidelines.html. eapintl.com. eapsystems.com. employeeassistance.biz-resources.com. employee-assistance-programs.com. eap.com. eapassociation.org. eaplist.com, list of active, nationwide, employee assistance programs. worklifeinstitute.com/employee.html. Employee Assistance Professional Association. 4601 North Fairfax Drive. Number 1001. Arlington, Virginia 22203. 703-522-6272. eap-association.com. Employee Assistance. Quarterly Magazine. Hayworth Press. 800-342-9678. Hayworth.com. Chapter 2. Drug Testing at Work. Urine testing/drug testing. The legal status of drug testing is not clear. Generally, the consensus is that if your job is dangerous and has safety standards, drug testing is fine. If your job has no stringent safety procedures, it's IOL'd be an invasion of privacy. Drug testing is different from testing for impairment on the job. Some groups say it's fine to be expected to do the job straight/unimpaired while you're there, but once you leave and you're on your own time, no one has a right to dictate what you do. Yet this is precisely what many companies want: drug tests to determine whether employees use intoxicants at all, even in your free time off the job, which doesn't seem to make much sense because it's not directly relevant to the job. The logic behind drug testing is that employees under any influence of alcohol or illegal drugs do poor work, could compromise safety, and are unmotivated workers in general. Drug testing is increasing among corporations. The Drug-Free Workplace Act requires all federal government contractors and fund recipients to have workplace drug abuse prevention programs with things like a written drug policy, drug education, an employee assistance program/EAP, and drug testing. The most common drug testing programs in the workplace are as follows. A pre-employment test where all job applicants who test positive are not hired. Random drug testing for employees with an employee assistance program in place to help substance abusing employees get help so they can stay on the job clean. The most common alternative to body fluid testing is hair analysis. You can also test for adulterants, substances the individual might take to mask drug use. There are on-site drug testing kits for immediate results which are inferior to the lab analysis tests. The facts are that many drug tests yield false positive results that could be caused by the foods you eat or over-the-counter and legal prescription drugs that you're taking. Many people feel that drug testing is an invasion of privacy in the workplace. As long as you do your job competently, what you do outside of the workplace is your time and your business. In a free society, it's wrong to have laws regarding recreational substances anyway. There are 3 common drug tests currently in use: the Toxilab, the EMIT, and the epub screen. Gas chromatography mass spectrometry, GCMS, is the best quality but is expensive compared to the other 2, so it is rarely used. Type any of these terms into search engines to get a detailed description of how they work. Epub screen tests for LSD, EMIT does not. Currently, there are no tests for nicotine, mescaline, psilocybin, mushrooms, or ecstasy. The military has been using the epub screen test. Most federal government agencies use the EMIT test. Most private companies use either EMIT or Toxilab. With many tests nowadays, they don't give you advance notice. They come in and demand a urine sample now. If it's in your company manual, you agree to it when you go to work for that company. People have certain privacy rights and, according to the Americans with Disabilities Act, an individual with former substance abuse problems who went to rehab and was cured cannot have that former substance abuse problem used against him in the hiring process. So it's a muddled mess like most workplace laws. If you plan to drug test, include the message with the application form. Some unions prohibit drug testing on their members. State laws on drug testing are different. The Drug-Free Workplace Act puts an obligation on companies with federal government contracts to keep drugs out of the workplace. The Omnibus Transportation Employee Testing Act covers the operation of planes, trains, trucks, and buses in interstate commerce. Pre-employment drug and alcohol testing are generally legal with respect to job applicants as opposed to employees who are asked to submit to random tests as a requirement of employment. If your employer suspects you of drug use that may be affecting your job, he may demand that you take a drug test. If a prospective employer wants a new applicant to take a drug test, you have no recourse if you refuse. As for the employers, unwarranted disclosure of test results can result in huge damages if they handle them carelessly. If you are fired or denied employment for failing a drug test that you know to be impossible, or if you find out that your test results were given to a third party, you have grounds for a lawsuit. If you're faced with a spontaneous drug test you know you will fail, you can always refuse to take it on legal grounds of invasion of privacy and get a lawyer to fight your case. There are many false positives caused by a number of different things, from over-the-counter drugs to the chemicals in the foods we eat. Even a poppy seed bun can lead to positive results for morphine. Tests have a tight chain of custody. Everyone who handles the specimen must sign for it. If you see one line blank, contact an attorney and tell him or her about it. Test results are measured in nanograms per millimeter, which is 1 billion parts. Tests are very sensitive and precise. There are several different test procedures. Thin layer chromatography is putting a chemical in the urine which separates all the drugs in it, if any, then the specimen is examined under a microscope. Enzyme immunoassay, EIA, is adding up to 10 different chemicals to 10 different drops of urine to test for 10 different drugs. Radioimmunoassay, RIA, is similar to the EIA test except that radiation is used. Gas chromatography mass spectrometry is an expensive procedure whereby a drop of urine is vaporized into gas and then analyzed by the complex machine. People trying to beat drug tests. Drug residue is stored in the fat tissues of the body. The fatter you are, the longer any drugs you take stay in your body in your fat. The first method to fight a urine drug test is to try to clean your kidneys out by not eating any fatty foods or drinking any alcohol and just trying to drink as much cranberry juice, acidic, and vinegar and eating as much fibery foods as possible to induce elimination. The more water you drink, the more drug residue you eliminate. Exercising gets rid of drug residue. Fasting helps too. If you drink 1 ounce of vinegar per 25 pounds of body weight about 4 to 5 hours before your test, your kidneys will shut down such that any residue in the body will not filter to the kidneys. During that time, vinegar tastes terrible, so try mixing it with juice. Try to get a prescription for some drug like amphetamines, painkillers, or sleeping pills and take it with you to the test to help you invalidate a possible positive test. Common methods of trying to disguise your urine are flushing the body out prior to the test by drinking lots of liquid and urinating it out, drinking cranberry juice to neutralize your urine somehow, exercising to sweat out toxins, taking a sauna to sweat out toxins, and using herbs or special teas to flush out your system. Many internet companies, health food stores and head shops for drug paraphernalia sell cleansing teas, herbs, and other things to help you flush out your system before the test. There are companies that sell certified drug-free urine samples. They advertise in the magazine High Times at hightimes.com. If they won't inspect your body or inspect the bathroom you will be using, you can hide a little bottle of clean urine from someone who doesn't use anything illegal, an elderly friend or someone who lives on the straight and narrow, either in your sock, pocket, or underwear or in the bathroom itself. I know of some drug testing authorities such as with the courts where they're onto these switching tactics, so the administrator stands about 6 feet behind a guy while he's pissing in the urinal to make sure he doesn't do a switch. Urine must be refrigerated to keep its form, so if you get a sample, keep it refrigerated as close to the test time as possible. Labs safeguard against test cheating by doing such things as measuring the temperature of the sample or coloring toilet water blue so that the individual doesn't try to dilute his or her urine with the toilet water. Barring that, if you know you've got a test upcoming, drink as much water as you can to try to flush your system that your urine is mostly water and not much else. Use diuretics too to help you go to the bathroom more. Some natural diuretics are coffee, cranberry juice, and beer. Some people suggest using the prescription diuretic Lasix, furosemide. If you're worried about your urine looking too watery, take a vitamin B complex pill, namely vitamin B2, to help color it to make it look more yellow. The time it takes the body to cleanse itself from detectable urine traces, according to a national report titled, Drugs, Crime and the Justice System published from the Bureau of Justice Statistics, U.S. Department of Justice, is single use, 3 days. Moderate use, 4 times a week, 5 days. Heavy use, daily smoking, 10 days. Chronic heavy use, 21 to 30 days. Keep in mind that there are many factors that affect the outcome of the tests, potency of drug taken, testing methods, metabolism, etc., so this is just an estimate figure. There is another way to score a clean test. Dilation, adding water to the piss sample to dilute it and a few drops of bleach or Drano crystals. However, this only works for the standard EMIT test, not radioimmunoassay or the chromatograph/mass spectrometer. If you try the bleach trick, mix it in to try to mask its smell. Zinc sulfate or the solution zinc challenge, a mineral supplement sold in health and drug stores, supposedly works by attaching onto drug molecules, thereby masking them. In essence, 1. Drink lots of fluids. 2. Urinate and perspire often. 3. If surprised with a surprise drug test, empty the nearest water cooler. If going to a test you know you will fail. 1. Have a friend fill a drainage bag and tape it to your abdomen. Run the tube down to your fly. The piss must be fresh. 2. For women, a urine-filled condom or vanilla extract bottle inserted into the vagina can work wonders. After you've been tested, list over-the-counter drugs, medications which are cross-reactive such as Advil, Nuprin, Motrin, or Midol. Drink herbal tea to flush yourself out. If you're saving drug-free urine, it has to be refrigerated, otherwise it breaks down after 18 hours at room temperature. If you can't get drug-free urine any other way, check out a magazine like hightimes.com for ads regarding this product. Beat the drug test websites. Test-pass.com, passadrugtest.com, pass-any-drug-test.com, passanydrugtest.net, passdrugtest.com, passdrugtests.net, toxinblast.com, passing-drug-test.com, passingpisstests.com, passitkit.com, passusa.com, passeourdrugtest.com, passeourutest.com, testingclean.com. Drug testing websites, pro and con. Most of these websites are about mail-order drug tests, ProView, or how to beat a drug test, ConView. DATIA.org, the Drug and Alcohol Testing Industry Association. drugtest-solutions.com/drug-testing-laws.htm. testcountry.com. detoxland.com/drug-test-myths.html. entitist.com. pass-a-test.com. drugtestkits.ca. alwaystestclean.com. clearteist.com. drugfreeworkplace.org, information about state laws. drugformation.com. drugtest.com.